And you're live.
Aloha Snack Bar. It's the one, the only V, the gorilla, the ape, the silverback, the majestic one, alongside in the background, the master of the flux capacitor. CJ is making sure those airwaves are coming out and the broadcast coming out smooth. We have none other because it's Wednesday, and you know it's Wednesday. If it's Wednesday, it's Hump Day. And since it's Hump Day, there's no one else here but the man, the myth, the legend. The women want him. The men hate him. He is the Baron of Bitcoin. He is the Sultan of Silver, the Gandalf of Gold. He is a man who does not stand on protocol, but if you call him Excellency, it will be okay. He wears his heart on his sleeve and spaghetti stains on his tie. What's going on? The man, the myth, the legend, Big Square. How are you, sir?
You got way too much energy for me today. I just got back late last night from Mexico, and I'm exhausted. My voice is dead. My body's falling apart. What an amazing time at the Anarchapulco conference, and just great people and all walks of life.
I get it, dude. I get it. You know, you kind of feel like Cindy Crawford's husband on the wedding night. You know what's expected of you, but you just don't know how if you have the ability to do it.
That's it. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. That's why they invented Viagra. There's actually
yeah, that's it. You just pop that and you're ready to go, and you don't need it. You could be. It's the greatest invention. You could be, doing like stock charts or baseball scores in your head and wondering what movie's on tomorrow, and it's fine. Yeah.
there's this guy at the bar one of the nights down there who was literally wearing a Viagra Letterman's jacket with this big Viagra on the back. It was awesome. It was hysterical.
God, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It was a great time. Good fun, good people.
Dude, what's this? All the videos that I've seen you in Anarchapulco. What is up with you in this Hawaiian shirt thing?
I don't know. You know, my wife's like, you should dress better. If you're gonna get into the video stuff, you're gonna have to dress better, lose a little weight, get a tan, all that stuff. So I'm working into the YouTube world because I didn't do much YouTube.
Speaking of YouTube world, me and CJ have been cracking about this. You know, your YouTube channel, folks, if you haven't subscribed, go to the Road to Ruda and subscribe to Bix's YouTube channel. Dude, you have like these hot chicks as like click thumbnails.
It's called clickbait.
I know. You really throw the bait out there, don't you, buddy?
Okay, here and I haven't explained this yet, but I will explain it because I had to explain it to my wife, obviously. So okay, I just built the YouTube channel, just finally going on and posting stuff. And I do get, some people will say, Bix, this is so beneath you, blah, blah, blah. First of all, I would like to say that for every one person who drops, I get 50 new subscribers.
Exactly.
And if it takes that to get them to click on the information that I'm giving out, I will do it all day long and not apologize for it at all. And I mean, the pictures aren't that bad. They're a little racy at times, but they catch the eye.
They're very tastefully done.
Yeah, they're going to click on it.
Very tastefully done.
And and if they're looking for soft porn or anything like that, they're not going to find it in the stuff that I release.
Exactly.
Although I was looking pretty good, on the balcony down there in Acapulco, don't you think?
Dude, totally, bro. Totally. You were the man. I mean, we had the Hawaiian shirt incident, and then what's this I hear? You were at a bar, and you were
which was it in the day, at lunch, at night, or late night?
This is why I need to be there, because you are a wild man.
I wasn't as wild as the people I was hanging out with. I'll just leave it at that.
Golly, it really was anarchy, man.
It was, and most of the most amazing stuff was. I mean, you look just looking at the people. On Friday, it was the economics conference, and the rest was all about changing the world. The economics was about changing the world too. It was
right.
Jeff Berwick, Bill Murphy, David Morgan, Gus Demos, Roger Ver was there with the Bitcoin Jesus. Love that guy.
I heard about the little tiff you got in there with him.
No, not with Roger. That was Tone Vay.
Oh, you got it in with Tone, huh?
Oh, Tone's it. Don't get me started on Tone.
Oh, come on. What did Tone do? Tone is such an innocent dude. He's just like pure as the wind.
Well, he's so. He has a moral compass of a dung beetle.
Oh man.
He's a traitor, And I got into another discussion with him at the bar late night. And he jumped into one of my discussions and he said, "Oh yeah, you got a short silver here and there." I go, "All right, Tone, say the manipulation ends. I know you don't believe in manipulation. You're so smart you can ride their waves and you know exactly when they're gonna, buy and sell. But say you're short and all of a sudden the price of silver goes to $100 and you lose 3 times your life savings. What are you gonna do then?" He says, "Well, that's not my issue. That's the brokerage house's issue." And I said, "Well, they'll come after you for what you owe them." And he's like, "Well, all my assets are hidden in Bitcoin. Nobody knows I have anything." I go, "You are just a slime bucket."
Well,
It might have been the beer talking,
might
but
have
I
been.
don't think it was. I don't think it was. I'm not a fan of Tone. And I know a lot of people like him. Great. Go for it. I'm not one of them. I'm not a fan.
Oh man, now look, now I have to like put the healing balm of Gilead on both of you guys, and
I know everybody said that. Andy
I
Hoffman said,
gotta.
"Come on, he's not so bad."
He,
You know,
so
you know. I think I get rubbed the wrong way because probably because he worked for Bear Stearns and J.P.
that's what it
Morgan.
is. That's what it is. That's why I need to be there, man. I could be like the guy who mediates. I could be like your public relations guy.
Yeah, if I
Keep
ever
me so you don't go too crazy. We don't want people getting hurt here, Bix.
sit down with Tone and have a nice calm discussion, we're gonna have V as the mediator.
That's it. That's
Or
maybe we can make that
moderator.
happen.
We can make that happen.
We can make
Or
that happen.
referee.
I'll mediate. I'm a great mediator.
But he's brilliant when it comes to the Bitcoin stuff.
Yes, he is.
He knows the shit. That was his job. And at even at Bear Stearns and at I think at least from what I heard of his resume, he was in the IT part of J.P. Morgan, the ultimate IT rigger, and Bear Stearns, the ultimate rigger who ran away with one of the largest silver short positions in the history of the world and got away with it because of the electronic rigging. So if he was involved with that,
well, one thing is this: if you lose all your money and it's with the broker, it's not the brokerage problem. The brokerage you'll never get it back. Period.
Well, it's the moral compass of someone who believes that. If it's if I owe someone something and they can't get it from me, well, too bad for them. It just irks me and rubs me the wrong way. And it probably the reason in the Bitcoin world, they're fighting over. Yeah, well, it's the scaling controversy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Thing, and there's one side is segregated witness. They call it SegWit. The other side's Bitcoin Unlimited. SegWit is the big mouthpiece of that is Tone Vaye. Obviously, there's he's pretty smart on it, but I think it's a horrible choice for a mouthpiece because he rubs so many people the wrong way. And then Roger Ver is sitting there kind of out by himself, yelling and screaming that this is going to destroy the Bitcoin in the hands of the people. And that's what we need right now is we need to get Bitcoin in the hands of the people.
Right.
With instant confirmations and instant ability to transact business on a very small level.
Yeah, man, because I'm tired of meeting small Korean men in dark back alleys to get my Bitcoin.
Well, I mean, my biggest thing has always been that there is an economic collapse coming where the banks are going to crash and we're going to have to go to some other form of money, some other form of commerce. Gold and silver are great, but they're not in the hands of the people, and they're really not that easy to use compared to what we have today, electronic money with a debit card and all that. Now, if Bitcoin is not ready for the little person to adopt it right away by the time the crash happens, we have a gigantic problem, and most likely Bitcoin will be shuffled off into the world of the huge money and the bankers. What Roger and his group, the Bitcoin Unlimited people, are saying is we need to get this control of transactions and the speed increased and the cost we have to keep way low because the cost of segregated witness is going to be huge. It could go up to like $100, $200 for one transaction. And I mean, I know that's not the long-term issue there. And there's a lot of good things on both sides, but the immediacy of the system breaking down, the immediacy of the average Joe having something to transact business with when everything else is gone, it has to go to, if you're going to use Bitcoin, if Bitcoin's going to be one of the choices, it's got to be cheap, it's got to be easy, and it's got to be in the hands of the people, not the big money, not the bankers. That's the other thing about the different sides of the camp is the segregated witness guys have like over 100 computer experts, some of the most brilliant people working on it, and Bitcoin, and they have like $80 million in funds raised literally from the banks.
Wow.
It scares me also. And then you got the Bitcoin Unlimited, which has like $1 million and just a few smart programmers that want to stick with Satoshi Nakamoto's original idea, get this stuff in the hands of the people, and don't make it so that's some kind of a. That's the problem when I talk about this stuff. I am not super educated on all the background technical stuff here, so I am making my choice for Bitcoin Unlimited because to me that's the best thing. It happens the fastest and gets it in the hands of the people the fastest. So yeah, these conversations were going on at the bar, after a long night of drinking tequila. So you can just imagine where they were going. And some of these guys are brilliant. So yeah, it was a great time.
That's awesome. One day, me and CJ will join you, and we two will throw back these
next year,
tequilas.
Not one day. Oh,
no, next year we will be there. The gorilla will have his hairy beach body on go.
By the way, you are fairly famous down there too. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, I love the Hump Day interviews. They're great. When's V gonna show his face and get down here and all that?" So yeah, next year you're going. You don't have one day anymore.
I'm gonna show up there with my Daft Punk helmet on.
I'll give you one year to
Dude,
get
I'm
down
there. Dude, I'll be there.
Otherwise, I'm gonna bust your balls up there.
Bro, Road to Ruta and Rogue Money will be representing hardcore down in Anarchapulco.
We'll do a Hump Day on stage.
We will. We'll do a Hump Day on stage, and it'll be kick ass, and people will love it. We'll have CJ on because he's the master of the flux capacitor.
I'll have the 2 turntables and 2 mics ready for you guys.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. And there was all that too. I mean, only Friday was really finance, and then there was a Bitcoin day, and Luke, what's his name?
Radowski.
He was down there. Brilliant guy. Balls of steel. Adam Kokesh. Yep. Who else? G. Edward Griffith was there.
Wow. G. Edward.
Oh my God. Down. He's classic. Yeah, some of the old school guys, G. Edward and Bill and David Morgan. Sorry guys, I'm calling you guys old school. I'm old school now. That's the amazing thing. 15 years ago when I was going to this, Silver Summit and stuff like that, I was just a kid. Yeah. And now I'm like, looking, who's that old guy over there talking about conspiracies in the silver market, in the Bitcoin market?
Bix, how old are you now?
I'm 52.
No way, dude. I thought you were in your 40s.
Thank you.
Dude, you look great.
Yeah, it's not the years, it's the mileage.
And folks, your mileage may vary.
Yeah, so oh my God, just amazing time talking to these people and listening to what they had to say. And it's a bunch of people trying to change the world in their own way. And that was just really cool.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Man. Next year we'll definitely be there, man.
Yeah. Hey, everybody out there, write that down. CJ and V will be at Anarchapulco next year. Okay.
We will be there. We will be there.
We are coming out of the closet.
Once it gets
not in a gay way. We're coming out of the closet, but not in a gay way. Not that we have anything against gays.
Once it gets out on the internet, there's no pulling it back. So yeah, that's a commitment.
That's it. And then everybody will know what the glorious majestic apes looks like for real, not the rumors, hearsay, and speculation. The actual.
You're probably gonna have to do a little manscaping before you get down there, don't you think?
A lot of manscaping. I have my weed whacker ready, and I'll have CJ fire up the weed whacker and give me a trim before we leave.
You want to get a lot of views on YouTube? You should film that.
We'll stream it live. We'll do it live, CJ.
Hey, V, you talk a lot about going live, but we still haven't seen you.
It's coming. I'm waiting for the rollout because we're gonna do it all together as a whole entire thing. It'll be fun. You'll see.
It'll be global. It'll be a global type of telecast
event. It'll be great. It definitely will. And after we do the Anarchapulco, you and I definitely we gotta broadcast from Times Square, bro. That's definitely that game. You gotta do it. Maybe this summer.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, with that being said, let's get into it, man. Embedded CIA, NSA spooks. Where were they embedded?
Well, this goes way back. With me, I kind of have a sense of people when there's something off or something different. It used to happen all the time.
This was an Anarchapulco. There were some embeds?
Oh, there always is. When you're talking about conspiracies and like at the Silver Summit or any of these things, there are always some in there. And you can tell kind of who they are well, I can. You kind of get a weird vibe from them, and their questions start steering in a certain way, and right away I something clicks in my head. I'm going, ooh, I don't know about this guy. I think I better watch what I say, because a lot of these guys are seen as enemies of the state, truthfully, because they're advocating non-compliance a lot.
Right.
So the CIA and the NSA and everybody involved with keeping this, keeping an eye on what these people are doing are there. And they, they'll look and act and talk like, I'm sure some of the speakers are actually, undercover guys. It just happens. And I, when I was talking to people, I kind of knew which ones were which. And I might have gone to dinner with one of the nights, and he knows who it is, and he's ex-military. But I don't see a problem with it from what Road to Ruta does. I don't advocate anarchy. I don't advocate anything but returning to honest markets and honest dealings with people. And the government is going to be tyrannical. I would say it is my right and my duty, according to the Declaration of Independence, to throw off those leaders and put new leaders who will take care of our future, just like it says on the $100 bill. So as Road to Ruta goes, I think the bad guys like me because I show them some of the stuff that's going on in the background, and the good guys like me because they're good guys and they want to change what's going on behind the scenes. But and also I think I'm so freaking paranoid. I think everybody's a spook out there. So but it was great, and a lot of Road to Ruta people down there. So I got to talk about Ruta and where it came from, and I brought out the night vision goggles, and we tried to look for aliens, although there was too much light pollution at the place we were staying. But people got to see it and brought out the comics, and everybody's like, oh my God, it does say 11 plus 9 in that Federal Reserve Bank comic book. Why did they do that?
Yeah.
Go to roadtoruta.com and you'll figure it out.
Absolutely, man. It's pretty interesting. You should have done the Doug Casey method. You know what, Doug Casey, whenever Doug's out there, and I love Doug. Doug is just a wild man. He will just literally stand up there on stage and go and take a mic, talk to the audience, and say, "Hey, if there's any government agencies working for such and such agencies, we need you to stand up right now and leave." And they literally would stand up and leave. You ever done that?
I haven't done that. And theoretically, it's like when a John picks up a hooker who's undercover. Apparently, it's like if you say, "Are you an agent or of the federal government, or are you associated with the police department?" By law, they have to say, "Yes, I am." I would assume that's what he's doing, but I don't see. I mean, these guys are so deep undercover under their dreadlocks, you wouldn't know they were working for the CIA.
Yeah,
but that was the cool thing. Half the crowd was dreadlocks and ripped jeans and sandals, and the other half was business suits and everything from the top to bottom. It was in there, and the people were fun.
Yeah,
it was great, good time.
Which brings us to the silver discussions and fixing Mexico's problems.
Yeah, I talked about this. In my presentation, I talked about Ruta and where Ruta came from, the term Route A, and then showed the Federal Reserve Bank comic books and how they all fit together, with Alan Greenspan being the original designer of these computer programs in the 60s, and why he fit into that project. And then I went through what's going on with the price of silver and how it's rigged on the comics. Last year, comics volumes were up 41% to 100 billion ounces of electronic silver traded last year on the comics, which is just completely ridiculous. So I went through all that. And then I got to, because we were in Mexico, and because Mexico has been in the news because of Trump's illegal immigration stance and all that, and building the wall and who will pay for the wall, I went through a slide that talks about silver and what the Mexican people are, how abused they're being by these silver manipulators. In 2016, for example, the Mexican silver production was 180 million ounces. They're the largest producer of silver in the world. And 70% of that is exported. And you just start thinking about it, and it's like, oh my God, how rich would Mexico be if silver wasn't manipulated? And I went through kind of at some point it's going to be 1-to-1 with gold. I have no doubt it'll probably be at $5,000 to $10,000 each. But just imagine how well off the people in Mexico would be. And in driving through the Acapulco, you got your resorts, and then you got your people who are like still starving and begging for jobs and money in a country that's sitting on the number one silver producing country in the world. Since 1900, Mexico has exported over 20 billion ounces of silver. In the history of history, there's only been 60 billion ounces of silver ever mined, ever brought up above ground. So Mexico, this one country that we think is, it's not the poorest country, but it's definitely not the most wealthy country, it has given away 1/3 of the wealth in silver. They could be the richest country by far. Yes, they would build the wall. Yes, they would pay for it because they'd want to keep Americans out because they'd have all the money and everybody be flocking back into Mexico who are illegal immigrants here because there would be so many jobs, so much economic activity associated with having the richest resource in the world in the ground. And yet their Mexican leadership is not doing anything about the manipulation.
Well, they're all into narcotics, man. The Mexican leadership are so in bed with the narcos, it's not even funny.
Well, Trump could end that tomorrow by legalizing drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
You legalize drugs, and you don't have to send soldiers into Mexico to take out the leaders of the narcotic gangs. It would end overnight because there's no money to be made there.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
I mean, and that's the two things I said. If you want to fix Mexico, one, stop silver manipulation, and number two, legalize drugs in America so that the bad guys, what did Trump call them? The
bad hombres.
What?
The bad hombres.
Yeah, the bad hombres. There would be no more bad hombres because they wouldn't make any money. I mean, the solutions are so simple, and all it takes is Trump standing in front of a podium and saying, well, here's what happened with silver manipulation. It got out of hand and we had to control it for the last 50 years, but we have decided to let the price of silver trade freely. Boom, price of silver is $1,000, $2,000. Mexico says, "Oh, we're the richest country in the world. We're going to take care of our people. We're going to solve all the economic problems that the people of Mexico have. The governments, they ride around in their limousines, but the people are still starving and living in squalor in Mexico, and that can change overnight if you let the silver price go."
Oh, absolutely, bro. And the other thing is this: Mexico has basically almost triple the mineral wealth of the United States. Their mineral wealth they're extremely wealthy in minerals, man. There's such key vital minerals. Uranium's in there. You have I think molybdenum in there. You have rhenium. There's so many rare earth strategics. I mean, it's all there. No one's doing anything because it's being sold off internationally. China's buying it. They're selling it off here. And the elites are pocketing the money over there. They're being it's very exploitative what their government is doing. Their government is doing exactly what every other globalist government is doing, which is basically sell off the actual wealth of the people for for whatever kickbacks they get, man. It's terrible.
You're correct. Exactly. And the reason that they don't know it, or at least most of them don't know it, is because when they sell this stuff, it's the real stuff. It's the real metal. It's the real mineral. It's the real oil. When this stuff is priced, it's priced with derivatives and computers on the COMEX and the LBMA. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Silver should be sold as physical silver. COMEX and the LBMA should go away. Literally. Electronic derivatives of commodities should be made illegal. And you'll see real pricing one day. And everybody says, oh, well, how will you hedge a business and all that? Well, first of all, 99.9% of the miners don't hedge anymore. So that kind of takes out that part. And then you got jewelers and you got, what else? Fabricators. Yeah, a little bit. I put up a slide from Jeffrey Christian's CPM group that he says, well, there's 3 billion ounces that need to be hedged every year. I think that's a ridiculous number. And I showed that the Silver Institute had completely differing numbers than Jeffrey Christian. But even if it was 3 billion ounces of physical silver needed to be hedged. Why is 300 billion ounces trading? And that's where the price is determined, on the electronic exchanges, and not in the in the transactions that happen when Mexican miners pull their silver out of the ground and sell it onto the world market. Two completely different kind of philosophies and attitudes, but one sets the price. The electronic futures and options, and the LBMA, which is also futures and options, because they trade 129 billion ounces of silver every year. And remember, they're pulling out maybe 1 billion ounces out of the ground every year. I think it's 800 million ounces out of the ground. Why every year do they need to trade 300 billion ounces of electronic derivatives? It's to rig the price. And it's only a handful of banksters who create probably 95% of that volume, which is insane. And Mexico, the people of Mexico, millions and millions of people are living in poverty because this is still going on, because the United States isn't doing anything about it. And it is all our fault because of the computers that Alan Greenspan invented to rig the prices of everything. Yes, he kind of did it as an altruistic way to take out the bankers, but it's gone on way too long, and they need to end it. Trump needs to raise his hand and says, I'm the guy who's going to press that red button and end silver manipulation. Sorry, I'm on my... See, this is what I was screaming about at the bar, and my voice is just so hoarse right now.
Man, it's speaking of manipulations, man, you see that Bitcoin and gold are approaching
the cross.
The cross. The cross of freedom, the cross of liberty, the cross of financial security.
Well, yeah, there were obviously a lot of Bitcoin. They had a whole day just only Bitcoin stuff going on down there, because Bitcoin is the currency of the anarcho-pokist.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Anybody into anarchy, it's all the cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin. Ooh, look at that.
Well, we should have Peter Schiff speak there next year.
Peter reminds me of like Jim Sinclair.
Yeah,
guys I love. A couple guys I love. Both of them hate Bitcoin. Both of them are too stuck in their ways to understand Bitcoin.
Exactly.
You
know what? Peter's like a used horse salesman trying to sell you a horse in the age of cars.
Yeah, well, and
I love Pete. I respect him. Just like, Pete, come on, man. I'm like, no. Has anyone sat you down, explained to you how this works? Like, I gotta reach out to Pete. And but you know what? Now he's on the whole gold money swing. So whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
and I know where they're coming from. When Bitcoin first came out, I was like, no, because I was a hard mellow guy, just like they are. We fought the same battles for years and years, but the world changes, and unless you get on the boat when the tide's going out, you're going to be left on shore. And that's exactly where Peter is right now. That's exactly where Jim Sinclair is right now. As Bitcoin is becoming stronger and stronger, not only in price but on infrastructure and the building out the back rooms of what Bitcoin needs to go global, where anywhere on the street you can transact with people with a bump of a cell phone. And it doesn't have to go through any central bank. It doesn't have to. Yeah, gold's the same way, not the same, but similar, except gold is concentrated in the hands of a few right now. With Bitcoin, you can get it out there, and it's not as concentrated as people think. It is concentrated, but those people will sell their Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto has the most Bitcoin right now, and he can solve this whole problem between the scaling issue with one email from his, they know what his email address is or server or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
He actually came out after he left the scene. He actually came out when Time Magazine, I think, did an article about they found this guy named Dorian Satoshi Nakamoto, who I think was also involved in Bitcoin, and they used his name for that paper. A version of his name. But I think there's no doubt in my mind the CIA was in it from the beginning. The good guys within the CIA. I know that people don't think that there are good guys and bad guys, but I can guarantee you the battle is going on behind the scenes. The people who put Trump where he is were able to do that because the good guys have won behind the scenes. And the good guys were involved with the creation of Bitcoin. I don't think it was just one guy. I think Alan Greenspan was heavily involved if not the Satoshi, which that was a radical claim anywhere because I'm the only one guy who's ever said it. But then again, who was the most prolific and the biggest expert of computer programming in the 60s, 70s, and 80s? It was Alan Greenspan. And that's all he was doing when he was working behind the scenes for the Council of Economic Advisors.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he got put in at the Fed, everybody said, oh my God, the biggest gold bug in the world is the head of the Federal Reserve. What's happening here? And then he got out and he said, oh, gold's great again. So one day, Alan will come out and say, yeah, Bix was right all along. We were trying to fool the people so, they didn't kill us like they did Kennedy.
Oh man! Speaking of which, hey, by the way, did you see that Bitcoin debate that they had on CNBS?
Who was in the debate?
It was Brian Kelly, who knows just about as much as about Bitcoin as he knows about wearing women's pantyhose, versus Peter Schiff.
Oh yeah, I saw part of that.
It was hilarious. Well, first of all, they never let Peter speak, and then this Brian guy, he had no facts whatsoever. It was the most glib answers, all done on purpose. And it was so scripted. You could tell that this Brian Kelly character, who is a staffer over there at CNBS, was never giving any sort of he never got into the real tangibles of Bitcoin.
Here's the funny thing about all that. That's still kind of the mainstream. As if there is an argument, there is no argument in the Bitcoin community. Hundreds of thousands of people are using Bitcoin, and the guys in the mainstream media and the gold bugs and Bitcoin supporters in the mainstream media, you can debate all you want. This is happening without you. And the good debate was the one down at Anarchapulco, like between Tone Vase and Roger Ver. They sat down for an hour-long debate. If you really want to understand the debate of what the future of money is, go on YouTube and check out that debate. That's a real debate. The question of whether or not Bitcoin is viable has been answered and is gone. The big people who have joined the Bitcoin community, you kind of laugh when people say, "Oh, I wonder, gold will always be better than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will never survive because it's electronic." That debate is long gone. The Bitcoin community has been up and out for years. So it's only a question of when the old school is going to join in the rest of the Bitcoin community. And that was very clear and very obvious down at this format, this forum in Acapulco, which is a beautiful place, by the way, and everybody should go. But yeah, check out those debates because those are the real debates. It's the debates about the future of Bitcoin and how to make it scalable, and what to do when the banks crash and we're not going to have exchanges to value Bitcoin or money to kind of juxtaposed against Bitcoin or silver or gold. People will be talking about ounces of silver and gold, not in dollar terms. They'll be comparing ounces of gold, ounces of silver, and Bitcoins to each other, and not in US dollars or pound or euro or any of that. That's the future. The future is not to talk about whether or not Bitcoin will be viable. That train left the station a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Well, who uses Bitcoin? And I'm like, oh my God.
Well, there's 30,000 retail places you can use Bitcoin.
It's over 150,000 right now.
Yeah, there you go. Overstock.com, you can get anything you want on it. So
yeah, you can buy from Amazon using Purse.io and get a significant discount on top of the sale price on Amazon. It's just ridiculous, man.
So the whole question, or there is no more debate. Peter Schiff, why did you even go on TV? You've lost the debate. Bitcoin is going forward, whether you like it or not, and the Bitcoin community will continue to grow and grow and grow because they are completely outside of the system and they understand the freedom of not being within the system. And it's amazing place to be.
Absolutely. 1,000%, man. Which brings us to you mentioned it before, bro, the Tone Vase Roger Ver debate. What was that a little bit about, man? Tone and Roger going at it.
Yeah. Well, Tone is very easy to argue with and get mad at because he has no moral compass and I'll stop bashing him. I promised Andy Hoffman to give him a shot and listen. But no doubt he's a smart guy. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. There's no doubt also that he's been put as kind of the voice of this the SegWit, which is funded by the bankers, which scares me a lot, always will. It really does hamper the small transactions. It makes them way too expensive. And if we are going to use Bitcoin as a solution for the banking problem that is about to hit us, we need those transactions to be cheap and as fast as possible. And that's what Roger Ver was arguing with Tone. And Roger's been in Bitcoin for, since I think it's 6 years, which is, a long time to be in Bitcoin. Tone is new to Bitcoin. I mean, he graduated in like, I don't even know if Bitcoin had even been, the white paper came out when he was just graduating from college. But he didn't get into Bitcoin until later. And a lot of these people who say, the segregated witness people who say, oh, Satoshi didn't know what he was talking about. He wasn't the best computer programmer, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get it. But Satoshi was very clear that this was a libertarian type of thing. He wanted it in the hands of the people, not in the hands of 100 computer experts who are working on something that will jack the fees of individual transactions through the roof. That's why Roger's so pissed off. He wants every Tom, Dick, and Harry to be able to go down and buy a cup of coffee with a Bitcoin without being charged $100 in fees.
Right.
So Bitcoin Unlimited is the thing. Now, it's very dangerous for me to get into a discussion about which is better or which is worse. And if you watch the debates, there was a couple debates down there that Roger Ver was in. But if you watch the debates, you'll see why it's dangerous for me to talk about it. I don't know what the hell these guys are saying. I can tell you right there. I can tell you anything you want to know about COMEX trading and manipulation in markets and even manipulation in the Bitcoin markets in China. But when it comes to the backroom computer technology world, you can leave me out, but you can tell these guys know their stuff. I mean, absolutely know their stuff. Roger is a brilliant guy. That's why they call him the Bitcoin Jesus. He's been fighting for the people. He's been fighting to get Bitcoin to a place in the hands of the people where it's quick, it's easy, and it's inexpensive to adopt as a solution to the criminal monetary system we have today. And if segregated witness wins out in this debate, which I don't think it will, I don't think they have enough time and all that. But if it did, it would cost a lot more. You wouldn't see anybody going to get a cup of coffee using Bitcoin. And that's what we need, especially when the banks break down. Because when the banks break down and all the debit card goes away and your checking savings 401k goes away, we need a way to transact business. And Bitcoin can be one of those solutions if it is cheap, if it is easy, if it's available. And segregated witness doesn't do that. It will be very expensive to do the small transactions. So yeah, that's my takeaway. Now, there's also good stuff that goes with segregated witness and all that, and I can't explain this to people because I don't know it myself. And truthfully, it would take a couple of years of studying for me to get up on this stuff, and it's not my interest. But you can watch those debates, and they get heated. I mean, there's no doubt that Roger's pissed off, saying you guys are going to ruin Bitcoin for the people. Yeah, Bitcoin will be fine for the large transactions, but we want it in the hands of the people. It was always supposed to be in the hands of the people. I think if this debate goes one way or the other and it gets down to a decision that Satoshi doesn't like, I think he'll come out and send a little email and say, that's bullshit. Here's what you do. And if Satoshi is actually Alan Greenspan, I want everybody to buy me a cocktail in celebration that I called it right.
Yeah. CJ, you were saying something?
Yeah, just in terms of V, I think it would help because I agree with Bix. I was watching the debate between Johnny, who's from Blockstream, and then also Roger, and Tone was, streaming it, and they lost me in conversation because they're talking about the size of the blockchains on reversing, opening up, expanding, backwards, forwards, and all the technology that's involved with it. And I think it'd be helpful for someone to help moderate. And that's something I had asked Tone to do, because Tone and Roger are both very intellectual. They both get it. They both understand it. But I think it would help to have someone moderate that can break it down to layman terms so that the average, knowledge Bitcoin person can kind of understand the differences that are there in opinion. As a matter of fact, I'd actually recommended to Tone to get him and Roger on and let V do that exact same thing. However, Tone typically does most of his broadcasting through I think it's the crypto show that he works with. So I totally get. He was like, you know what? I usually do all my work with them, so I want to give them the opportunity to do something like that. But and my take is it regards to expanding it. And Roger's view of it is that right now Bitcoin handles transactions, whether you're doing $100,000 or $50,000. It treats every transaction the same, whether it's the size and scope of it. And Roger wants to open that up so that when Bitcoin is ready to expand, where you have a lot more transactions that are based upon $1.50, $2 for a coffee, $3 for this, that the blockchain is enabled and ready and has the capacity to do that without certain types of authentication. Because right now the processing treats every transaction as it's the same. And again, I don't want to speak for Roger, but I think what he's saying is that it doesn't need that. If it can speed up the paradigm and say that it doesn't have to wait to verify a $1 or $2 transaction just to get authorization to pass through the blockchain a lot quicker, then let's open it up, almost open up the bandwidth to make that happen. And to those that are very knowledgeable blockchain, I'll be like, well, that's not the right word to use. And I get that, but I think it'd be nice to have that conversation, V. So maybe we could try to do that at some point in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I think it'd be a great idea. 1000%. What say you, Bix?
Yeah, do it. I'm not in on that conversation. Are you kidding me? I'd get destroyed. But yeah, I mean, the whole concept. I like to take the bigger picture, and the bigger picture was Satoshi wanted Bitcoin as a tool in the hands of the people.
I agree with that.
And whichever side is more favorable to that in a very short time frame, because if the financial system crashes in the next couple months and segregated witnesses in place, nobody would be using it because it would cost too much.
Yeah. To
do a transaction. So maybe long-term segregated witness has a lot of benefits. I see that. I don't really see it. I'm told that. But I think on the short term is what should be extremely urgent for everybody, knowing what's about to happen to the banks, knowing that you're not going to be able to go to your ATM, knowing that we're looking for a solution. And if Bitcoin costs, $10 to buy a cup of coffee, if it costs $10 in fees, which segregated witness could go to $100, $200. But if it is not a viable solution for the everyday person, that is a huge miss on the side of what Satoshi was going for, trying to get this form of money and a means of exchange in the hands of the people. And it could be done. And I think Roger's ideas and the Bitcoin Unlimited gang who are only funded with $1 million, and the other side has 80 million from the bankers, that gives me another reason to say, hey, this needs to get to the hands of the people, not.
I agree. Not the banks. These guys, oh, you don't want to give it to it defeats the whole purpose. And I think the Bitcoin community is savvy enough to recognize that.
Yeah. But I don't think segregated witness, I don't think they understand how close we are to this monetary implosion where we'll be looking for another tool. Yeah. And if Bitcoin is not that tool, it's very easy for the bankers to say, well, you got nothing else, so let's just restart and reallocate money, and we can fix this with special drawing rights or anything stupid like that. Yeah, I hope at the time Bitcoin is ready to go big time, and I think Bitcoin Unlimited is the way it could go big time. With people, ease of use is what I think Roger was talking about. And the funny thing is, every time he talks to these other guys working on segregated witness, he's like, how often do you use your Bitcoin? How often do you even have a Bitcoin wallet on your phone? And these guys don't even have a Bitcoin wallet. They don't use it. They're looking at the big transactions and hoarding their Bitcoin and things like that. And Roger's out there every day doing thousands of transactions. So, and his people, and that's what the beauty of Bitcoin is. It can get into the hands of the people when we need it the most desperately, which is when the banks crash.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Which brings us to the final thing, man. What's going on with Cliff's latest woohoo thing?
Wujo. Well,
Wooja.
Wujo is something different than the woohoo or now I can't.
Yeah, I messed you up there
Yeah,
purposely.
you did. The
That's a little
woo-woo.
NLP technique, little
Oh my
little
God!
Jedi mind trick on you, Bix.
There's the woo-woo world, which is the officially unexplained stuff. He calls it the space goat fart entity,
Space Ghost.
just because it's so far out there. But some of that stuff is coming true down in the Antarctic. He's been having the Antarctic revelations in his data for years, and now with all this action going, they're sending so much in supplies down to the Antarctic. It's crazy. And there's only supposed to be like a handful of scientists down there, but there's all kinds of like landing strips. There's so much going on down there. And supposedly and Trump is going to start announcing one of these days, as soon as he gets the high level pedophiles and all that. But according to Cliff, he's got a new report coming out. I think either Friday or Saturday, maybe. It might be out now, but I was in Mexico. And yeah, it's good. I think it's going to be a good one, a really interesting one. They all are to me, though. Cliff's so brilliant. A lot of it has to do with water issues, like maybe a dam breaking in California. Or
You're not anywhere near there, are you? I mean, I know that you are running all the
well,
gang.
everything is near. The problem is the chaos that it would cause.
Yeah, fuel, food, and all that stuff.
With food, but with the power grid, it would take
Yeah.
out of the power grid, and
For you guys, right?
Well, I think if you look at the whole United States, there's these gigantic grids that you can have a big power outage in one area that kind of shuts down the whole East Coast.
Yeah.
We've seen that before.
Except for those Texans, they're lucky. They have their own grid separate from the rest of the country.
Well, I have a solar, a portable solar generator from.
Yeah. We heard about your portable solar scooter.
Yeah,
I still gotta get one.
I got the scooter too, but here's the problem with the if you're the only guy who has electricity, who are you going to talk to on the other side of the whatever communication? But Cliff's reports comes out. I got a couple emails from him. He was jealous that he wasn't at the Anarchapulco place. I could tell in his voice, because he would have loved. They would have loved him if we can get Cliff to travel down there next year. Mm-hmm. I would tell him I'll take care of his flight and his food, and he doesn't drink, so I'll drink his tequila, his share. And
me and CJ will be there next year. If you get Cliff Fi to come along, that'd be awesome. We'll do a gigantic show, and we'll all drink Cliff's tequila. He could drink vicariously through us.
Well, maybe we can. A better idea maybe for Cliff is to have a live simulcast where he talks to the crowd. That would be cool.
That'd be great. But CJ will probably drink us under the table, Bix.
No.
Oh, yeah?
I can't hold my liquor for worth of crap, dude. I am not. Me and hard liquor do not mix. I just don't have the biology for it. I don't know what it is. I'm good with beer. I can do like vodka, but any of the harder drinks, man, 1, 2, I'm done. I'm like, woohoo! I'm like a happy drunk though, bro. I'm like the most joyful
every
person
drunk
in the world.
thinks they're the happy drunk.
I literally am.
We should secure a timeshare down there. Get it for 7 or 8 rooms and everything, and get us all there.
Airbnb, CJ. Airbnb it, baby. Yeah. That's what we do.
They're my family is a drinking family. We, all my brothers are in the liquor industry. My father owns a vineyard, and so it's just part of our way of life, and we have fun. Although I've told my lovely wife Amy, I said, all right, I'm gonna take a little break from drinking. So we'll see how long I go, because that just partying hard takes a wear and tear on your body, and I don't even know how Jeff Berwick is still standing right now down there.
Jeff Berwick is not human. I'm pretty sure of that.
It's awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna go on the wagon for a while and see how that goes and start working out. I got to get my body back to where something livable. Make sure I'm around for a longer amount of time.
Yeah, you and me both, man. I'm feeling mortality at the age of 37.
Yeah. But when you get into your 50s, your metabolism slows down. Everything's slowing down. That and you have theoretically you have more money to indulge in certain
Yeah, but what
types
are you going to indulge in? I mean, it's like it's so funny. I've been around these rich, wealthy guys who are like 60 and 70 years old. They're so damn run down because they've, they were pushing themselves to the limit when they were younger. They're totally burnt out, and they're like, "Yeah, I got a couple million in the bank." I look at a pretty girl, and I just don't remember why I even get excited. I don't even know why I'm looking at them. I'm like, dude, what is the point?
Yeah, I mean, there's a fast lifestyle, especially when you're in business. And I gave up my corporate job a couple years back. Actually, my boss just sent me a text today saying, "Hey, what are you doing? I haven't heard from you. Go to Rotorua, dude. Get out of that corporate business."
Yep.
But yeah, there's when you're dealing in banking and finance, that's a big part of it. Going out to these schmoozing dinners and things like that. And I know guys who are real smart, but couldn't really hang out and have a cocktail with people, and they just can't get over that. The bigger bumps of getting deeply involved in these deals unless you're playing with the big boys.
Yeah.
That's my excuse of why I'm still a partier.
Makes sense, man.
But
With that being said, go ahead.
having YouTube is absolutely, because I just said I'm going on the wagon for a while. You guys can all check up on me and see if I'm staying off the wagon. I will be truthful when I cheat.
Oh man. Oh, it's never a dull moment with you, bro. Never a dull moment.
Very good.
That's it. Good deal. With that being said, buddy, why don't you plug your site, your YouTube channel, and how people could subscribe? And guys, if you haven't subscribed to the Road to Ruder newsletter, you need to.
Yeah, it's free.
I mean, come on.
Roadtoruta.com. And there's over 3,000 articles because I was just a writer for the first 10 years.
You're a madman possessed.
And now I'm mainly doing the YouTube stuff, and I still write a lot for the Friday road trips and the private road people. And I'm gonna start doing private video chats for that Friday road trip, which everybody's been asking for. Go to roadtoruta.com, put your name and email in, you get free emails. If you're more interested and want to get deeper involved, join the private road, and I will send you $30 in hard copy Bitcoin with every subscription or renewal, which is really cool for people who don't have any Bitcoin and don't know anything about it. Sign up for the Road to Ruta private road, and you get $30 worth of Bitcoin mailed to your front door. And then sign up on the YouTube channel, subscribe to it. All right, that's my plug.
That's a win-win-win-win-win situation. And with that being said, I am the Majestic Monkey, and my man CJ, the master of the flux capacitor, working the airwaves to make sure this broadcast was coming out spiffy clean without any issues. You can find us on roguemoney.net. Follow us at the Rogue Money on Twitter and the Rogue Money Facebook page. You can also download our podcast on iTunes. We're over there, and the Google Music Store. We're there as well. And you can find us on Apple News and soon to be Google News. We're in the process of getting certified for that. And check out our sponsor. If you are threatened by debt, and if the debt collectors are threatening to hold your puppy as ransom until you pay their bill, and you're worried about it, thinking that your life is over, you want to commit suicide before you pull the trigger and give that gun, put that gun down and call My Freedom Now.
Dark.
It's getting dark. It was getting real dark real quick. But check out myfreedomnow.us, myfreedomnow.us, and hit the reset button on your credit. These guys are not about debt consolidation whatsoever. They're about kicking the bankers in the nuts and giving you the life you deserve. myfreedomnow.us. With that being said, we're over and out. Take it away, CJ.
Great show, guys.